Have you ever realised that you never see old software engineers? Ageist? Somewhat sensitive today, you're right, mate. Just get on with the video, Andy. Alright then. Hello and welcome to the video. I'm Andy and I'm an engineering lead based in London, and today I'm here to talk to you about software engineering career paths. Now, there's a few answers to the question I posed a second ago as to why you'll find that most software engineers are under the age of 40. Firstly, tech and software companies are obviously a lot more common nowadays than they were 20 or 30 years ago. And therefore, you find there are a lot more software engineers trained nowadays. I mean, in the last 20 years alone, there's been over a 50% increase in computer science degrees. And that's probably the primary reason you won't find a lot of software engineers in their 50s. But the other reason, the reason I'm here to talk to you about today, is that software engineers don't always tend to stick as engineers for their entire career. They usually either get promoted or transition into other areas of the business. In this video, I'm going to cover what I think are the 4 most common career paths for a software engineer. So without any further ado, let's get into it. Number 1, management. This is the traditional path, as with any profession. Typically, you'd come in as a software engineer, maybe after 3 or 6 years, be promoted to a senior. After maybe up to like 7, 8 years, you might be able to make it up to a tech lead, depending on the company and what roles they have. After that, depending on where you want to go, you could be a VP, a CTO, just taking the steps up in management. Many engineers see this as their preferred path, but the problem is there aren't that many positions in the world for all the engineers. There's only one CTO position per company. You have to be extremely dedicated and driven to achieve this. This is my goal, but I must stay realistic and always assess where I am and always be aware of opportunities that are arising internally and externally to my current company. So what are my options if the VP or CTO roles never materialize? Number 2, the principal engineer or architect route. When you think software engineer, you either think one of 2 things. Free lunch working at Facebook, or loser nerd drinking Monster at 3 AM in their bedroom in a dark room. Not entirely sure where I'm actually going with this. Lots of engineers aren't people. They weren't in the football team at school, and they weren't particularly good at socialising. But we're not at school anymore. And now all the cool people are working on the counter at Tesco.
Do you want to put your things on the conveyor belt? No, not the basket, just the items.
And nerd is the new cool. You're on your way to earning a 6-figure salary. Where am I going with this? The principal and architect route is a very appealing one for a lot of people that want to stay technical and don't want to manage people but still want to progress. The people who really have a passion for tech and writing code and who just can't see themselves giving it up. Unfortunately, to progress, you're always going to need to learn or have a certain level of communication and mentoring, or you'll just never be able to maximize at least your potential for the company you're working in. But what if you don't want to stay technical and you don't want to progress down the people management route, but you're still heavily interested in business? This third option might be for you. To move into product management or to become a project manager or a scrum master. For those who don't know what a product manager is, from an engineer's perspective, they're basically the middleman between the business and you. But that's not all it is. Product managers own the business strategy behind the product, specify its functional requirements, and generally manage the launch of all its features. They are the partner to the engineering team. Software engineers can make some of the best product managers because they know how to build products from the lowest level as the engineers. They can often be referred to as the mini CEO because they have complete autonomy over the product that they're building. It has the perfect balance of tech, business, sort of user design, and even client interactions, making it perfect for anyone who wants a more dynamic role. To transition to this role, however, you do need to be very customer focused, which is obviously something not all engineers are always brilliant at. And on the other side, project managers delivery managers, scrum masters, they're a lot more focused on the way of working and less so about the product itself. So if that's something that interests you, then I suggest looking at this path. All right, so I've covered the 3 most common options. But what happens if none of those float your boat? If it all sounds like too much hassle? That is fine. You can just stick it out as a software engineer. There is nothing wrong with breaking the status quo and being a 50-year-old developer. Do it! There's nothing worse than in this day and age, society pressuring us to climb the corporate ladder. I am so guilty of falling into this trap as well. Let's be frank. Anyone can live the rest of their lives extremely comfortably off the salary most 25-year-old software engineers are making. You don't even have to be particularly smart with your money. Even if you've got a wife, a husband, multiple kids, our field is very lucrative. If you don't want to progress, the salary a regular software engineer makes is absolutely fine. If you haven't got a family, that's fine. You can kick back and live the dream on a beach in Bali. It's really possible if you want this. And there is also the option of contracting, though the older you get, the less enticing this option is, as it can be very unstable, even if the pay is incredibly lucrative. You can easily make £500 plus a day as a contractor. So there we have it. As I touched on earlier, please don't feel like you have to follow one of these paths. Do what you enjoy. And if you're already working in tech, no matter what you choose, you are most likely going to be financially stable. And anyway, they say that anything you make over $75,000 a year doesn't make you any happier of a person, which is about 55 grand in English terms, pounds. So keep this in mind and only strive for what makes you happy. Thanks for watching. Please like the video, even if you think everything I just said was utter bollocks. And if you did think that, please let me know in the comments section below why you thought that. Subscribe and hit the notification buttons if you want to be able to troll me as soon as I upload a new video. I know it's what a lot of people like to do. Anyway, until next time.